Hello guys, a new league is upon ahead. Path of Exile Crucible will be playable on this Friday, and in this video we're going to talk about my league start strategy. We are also going to be talking about why a league start strategy is meaningful in a fresh league start scenario. So why we want to have a league start strategy? So if you have a strategy, you will basically have a plan, just like in Heist, right? Then that means you will be more prepared. That mean also that you are going to know what you're going to do because you already have thought about it. Then that will end up with a gameplay that's more efficiently, so you will get to the end game before others, and that would finally mean that you will have a faster progression for your characters because all the stuff that you get from the game will be more valuable than because you can sell to other players that didn't get to that point. So let's talk about the big picture here. What are the main points in our plan? So everyone will start from zero, and the phase one is basically to complete the acts as fast as you can, because just like I already mentioned, we want to get to the end game before others. So a big tip here is that it would be a great idea to do some practice runs, at least from Act 1 to 5. That's when we are switching skills frequently, and we want to not be doubting what are the skills that we need to use and what are the auras and what are the curses. So then once we complete the acts, we will start the mapping, right? So the first, I divided the mapping phase in 3 different phases, and first the white maps, then the yellow maps, and then the red maps. I think that this classification will make the plan easier to understand. So first we have the early step, the early phase of the maps, that is the white maps. And here in this phase we are going to mainly focus on address completion. Remember that every map that we complete, that's going to be translated into Atlas Specific node, and we want to get those as fast as we can by completing these maps. So first we're going to be focusing in getting as many maps in those resources that gives us more maps, and those are the map nodes and the character missions. Then once we approach the yellow maps, we are going to encounter the Maven influence, and we are going to start allocating the league mechanics that we are selecting before. We are going to talk more on this later on when we see the 8 tree that I have prepared for me, so you have a good idea how you can prepare one for you, or just follow the one that I did. Then once we have some decent investment in the league mechanics that we're going to follow, we can start blocking the other ones that we didn't invest, so we don't see them, and at the same time we get more of the mechanics that we already did invest. And then we have to prepare our character to enter the red maps. Usually we are going to experience that the red map mods alongside the mobs scaling is going to be somewhat rough, and the transition between the yellow maps and the red maps won't be the same that we already had between the white maps and the yellow maps. So for the last phase, the endgame, we are already doing some of the red maps, even though we are going to be starting from T11, T12 maps. We want to aim for the high tier maps, that is the 14 plus. And here we want to focus on getting the void stones. The first 2 are quite easy to get, and they will have a lot to sustain the red maps. You will get one from the red influence and the other one from the blue influence, the 2 of the pinnacle bosses. And the other 2 void stones we want to invest in our Atlas tree to get the maps required to get the fragments, and then to try to do the Maven fight and the Uber Elder to get the last void stones to complete all the Atlas and transform everything to the tier 16 map. And once we do that, we can call that the league start is already complete, and we are ready for other phases that we are going to be talking about in future videos. So now I'm going to show you my 8+3 that I have planned in POE Planner, and we're going to be discussing why I did and what were my thoughts. This is how the tree looks like, and we're going to start from the beginning. First of all, the league mechanic that I want to focus early on will be BLIGHT. I know it sounds kind of weird because the BLIGHT mechanics is somewhat a static mechanic that you cannot progress in your map and do it alongside of it. But hear me out. The BLIGHT mechanics is one of those mechanics that you get all sorts of rewards while doing it. You get currency, you get armor, you get BLIGHT oils and other stuff, for example, just like Legion, and is a mechanic that is not build dependent. Okay, so for example, Legion, since I just mentioned it, you have to have a build that can clear the whole thing, the whole monolith, the both legions, to take full advantage of it. BLIGHT, in the other hand, you don't have to even have a good build for the blighted maps in T16. I think that overall this is a pretty good choice for all kinds of builds, and at the same time I do think that BLIGHT is really profitable, and especially early on, and it still keeps being profitable later on. Maybe some of you may remember one of my videos of talking about BLIGHT from the last league, and I was trying BLIGHT in one of the latest stages of the league. It was a really a chill gameplay that I did enjoy a lot. So with that in mind, I'm gonna start pathing through here, and we're going to get closer to this node that we will have all the correct stuff, and then I'm immediately pathing through the map node that we have here, the shaped of mountains, and then I'm pathing to the right and getting the other map node, the shaped of skies, and then I'm going up for the character mission stuff. These give you some extra chance once you finish a map to get an extra character mission. Then we have more on here, and finally I am getting the two remaining map nodes, the shaping the valleys and shaping the seas, for a total of a lot of chance basically to get more maps. And just then I will start rushing the BLIGHT nodes. For example, I will try to get the epidemiology. So then I'm going to try to rush the epidemiology and the other BLIGHT nodes. For example, these ones, we have more chances to have BLIGHT encounters in your maps. Then we have other stuff here for the BLIGHT, and as you can see, I also selected as a secondary league mechanic the essences, because for my build I need to craft some of the gear, and also early on everyone wants essences for crafting their items too. So I'm also adding the extra essences, some of the basically more essences in the instance monsters, more essence node here. As you can see, everything from the essence is in our path, so that's pretty good. And once I have all of these clusters from the BLIGHT, I will start pathing down here and start blocking these mechanics that I won't be focusing in. And the other mechanic that I'm going to focus is in heist. I think that even if you don't want to run heist, all the stuff that you get is from clicking once in a cache, and then you can sell all the stuff in bulk to our players and get a good amount of currency just by playing basically. And then we're going to up here, we are going to get the extra essence tier. This is pretty good once we have all our stuff, because the other nodes will stack the essences, and this node will actually make all of that tier higher. Then I added the rarity wheel here because why not? It's 30 points for 15 extra rarity and 3 extra quantity. Then some more stuff for the BLIGHT, that is the extra, the chance to get an extra tier higher for or oils. That again, early on the oils are have a really good value. Then some of the extra high stuff to get more blueprints. And finally, we are selecting the boss stuff. This is mainly for the 2 last voice stones, since we are getting all of the Maven fragments from the Guardians itself. You're also getting the more fragments from the Conquerors, and in the worst case scenario, you can even sell these maps because there are going to be a lot of people running boss focused builds, and they're trying to do as many bosses as they can to sell the uniques that drop from them. And finally, I want to talk about the influence. Since this is the League Star, I would highly recommend you to get the red influence, so you can get some of a consistent flow of currency. That you will get the Awakening Sextons, the Chaos, the Regrets, and all of that bubblegum currency that's pretty valuable early on in the league, instead of the blue one that you will have to get lucky with the divines, with the divines altars. So I definitely would recommend the red influence. And as you can see, I have 139 points over 102. This is because I have everything selected here, but not all this stuff have to be spec'd at the same time. So for example, once you have a pretty high amount of maps completed, you can unspec the character related nodes. So for example, you can connect here with the rest of the tree, and you can just remove all the correct stuff. Then for example, if you're not having any troubles doing the blighted maps, you can just remove these nodes that they make the encounters more accessible, just in case your build you are failing some of these encounters, even though you should not, because like I said, these encounters are really easy. And yeah, you can inspect these and save 4 more points, and you can see we are already below the max amount. At this point, you don't have to invest full in maps because you have already a high amount, and with the watchstones you are able to sustain the red maps quite easily, so you can get all this wing out. You can even connect from this point and connect here and remove some of this stuff here and save a lot of points. As you can see, we are already 180 and 190, and yeah, we have a pretty good tree for the League Star scenario. And then the next steps, of course, are going to focus on our league mechanics that requires a stronger character. So for example, we are going to be taking the full hat here. That'll make all of the maps extra hard. We're going to get all the quant quill that we usually get in later stages of the league. And we are full focusing in our stuff. For example, Delirium, that's pretty good, since in this league we will have the Tropical Island. I don't have a specific plan for a mid league, I would say, and we are probably talking about that in future trees, in future videos. We will be also unspecking all the boss nodes after we get the 2 void stones. So in summary, in the white maps, we want to rush the map nodes to have a faster progression. Then when we head to the yellow maps, we want to rush our main league mechanic, and we are going to be speccing into those nodes. And then at the same time for the secondary league mechanic, and once we enter the high red tier maps, we want to be speccing into the boss nodes so we can have the last 2 void stones. And of course, the influence, this will basically change our whole gameplay, since the altars are really preferable. And that's basically it for the whole general plan for a league start. And once you complete all of this, you can follow the next steps. And yeah, I hope you like the video, and I see you in another one. And I hope you have a really nice experience in the next league start.